Right. Good morning. Appreciate everybody being here today. I guess to start off, if you're new here today, can you raise your hand? Just curious. Awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys coming and kind of checking things out. So first, I just kind of want to introduce myself, who I am, and then what the Senior Living Education Series is. So my name is Andy Algreen. I'm the host and the moderator of the Senior Living Education Series. I am a realtor full-time and a certified senior housing professional. And essentially what that means is we help older adults downsize into senior living communities or into smaller houses. And we've really learned just over the past few years that there's a lot of decisions, emotions, and there can be a right process to help ease the burden of moving out of a house that you've lived in for a lot of years. So that's kind of what we do on the professional side. This is my family. That's my wife, Sydney, and our son, Mills. So that's our family and a little bit about myself. Senior Living Education Series. So essentially what this series is and what it's designed for, high level, is that it's designed to help educate, equip, and empower older adults to make more confident decisions in the future about just a variety of different topics. So obviously today we're talking about fraud and scam prevention. What we've talked about a few months ago, we went through a downsizing series. We'll do aging in place topics and just a variety of different things to help you make more confident decisions. So they're always held on the first Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. We initially started hosting these at the Gathering Place in Monroe, which is a senior and community center. And we just thought it would be beneficial to move to Newton so we could try to help reach more people that way. So we moved here, I believe it was April of this year. So still semi-new to the DMAC campus in Newton, but this is where they will always be. They're always free to attend. So if you know anyone that it would be beneficial for them to come, feel free to invite them going forward. And they're always at 10 a.m., 10 to 11:15, the first Thursday of every month. So that's kind of who we are and what the Senior Living Education Series is. Next, we do have putting on a monthly seminar isn't a free thing to do. So we have education partners who are located over there. So they are always here prior to the seminar starting, and then they hang out afterwards as well. And basically, they're just here to be a resource for you guys to literally just ask questions. If you have questions about anything, we have 4 senior living communities and then Home Instead, which is an in-home care company. But yeah, they're just here to be a resource for everyone, and they are these seminars are a little different than, I would say, other seminars that you might attend, where our overall goal is education, and we're not here to sell you anything. So if you go up and ask them any questions, they're just here to be a resource, provide information. So they have brochures and things out, and they're just here to have conversations.
Question.
Go ahead.
It's about Story Point. What is Story Point?
That's a good question. She is actually going to be presenting here in about 30 seconds. So I'll have her tell you about it. With that, we'll just have Mallory come on up and kind of introduce Story Point. They're our newest education partner. So if you want to give her a round of applause, and then she can introduce.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mallory Wetland, and I am with Story Point Senior Living, formerly Eden Crest. We have 20 communities around the state of Iowa. I am with the Altoona and Pleasant Hill location. So we have independent living, assisted living, and assisted living memory care. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why the change of name? Is there a change of ownership?
Yes, there is a change of ownership. So the acquisition was actually final on June 15th, and they did decide to change our names at that time. So now we are owned by Welltower.
Like who?
Welltower.
And where's Welltower from?
Brighton, Michigan.
Headquartered in Michigan.
Yep. Any other questions? Altoona and Pleasant Hill.
Where in Altoona?
Are you familiar with like the Southeast Polk New Middle School, or as you like head out of Altoona to go to Mitchellville?
Just give me an address.
8th Street, 1600 8th Street.
Okay, where's the one in Pleasant Hill?
It's right off of 163 by Deary Brothers, Martha Miller Drive.
What is the object of Story Point?
We offer independent living, assisted living, and assisted living memory care.
Yep.
So, any other questions? I will be here after the seminar too, so feel free to come ask me over there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. If you have any more questions, just feel free to follow up with Mallory afterwards, and she'll be able to answer any of those questions. Next item that I kind of wanted to just talk about real quick is a couple weeks ago, we always try to provide some type of additional benefit with working with our education partners. So we were able to do a education partner tour / community tour day. So we toured Park Center and Newton Village a couple weeks ago. And with that, I guess, can you raise your hand if you were on that tour? A couple people. But yeah, it was good. I think there maybe was around 8 people that came, and essentially we just got a feel for both communities. So we went to Park Center in the morning. Lisa had a little presentation, and then we were able to have a light breakfast, kind of test out the food, I guess, and then tour the community, tour the dining, and then a couple different apartments, and then different amenities that both communities had to offer. And then we had lunch as well at Newton Village. So with that, I just wanted to play a short clip of what the community tour kind of felt like. So with that, but what we always talk about is just planning ahead is just very crucial in helping later in life when those decisions kind of might have to be made. So we're not saying any decisions have to be made right now or anything, but I think it was beneficial for the people that kind of were there to kind of at least get in, see what an apartment kind of looked like and felt like, and see what the different options were. I always say that every senior living community has its own like personality. And they're all a little bit different. They all offer a little bit different services. Pricing's a little different at each one. So it's good to just walk each one and kind of figure out the feel of it and what they have to offer. So that's what we did for that. Next, to kind of shift gears into our topic and why everybody is kind of here today. So obviously we're going to be chatting about what every senior should know. Or sorry, that's actually the wrong one. It's financial, fraud and scams. Sorry, I have the wrong slide up. But with that, I just also wanted to watch a quick video about scams, what's going on, and then we'll call up our panelists after that. So with that, I'll just have our panelists come on up and we'll dig into today's topic. But obviously, as you can see, this it brought up Canada and other states, but it's very relevant, in the Newton community, Jasper community, Jasper County, Polk County. So it's very relevant. So I'm excited to dig into today's conversation. So I will have all 3 of our panelists just introduce themselves, who you are, what you do, and then we'll just dig into the questions. So I'll have Jeff go first.
Hey everyone, Jeff from Advantage Credit Union. I've been there for 9 years. I do business development, marketing, accounts, all that kind of stuff. work with a lot of members who are going through fraud, and we're kind of on the front line of seeing it at a financial institution.
My name is Jessica McGraw. I'm the Senior Financial Exploitation Investigator for the state of Iowa. So we're under the Iowa Insurance Division and Financial Services. So I specifically work just with older, independent Iowans who have been the victim of some type of financial exploitation.
Yeah.
My name is Andrew Schinkel. I'm a detective with the Newton Police Department. I've been in law enforcement for the past 10 years, and I've been an investigator with Newton PD for the last 3 years. I cover anything from robbery, burglary, internet crimes against children, and fraud. I work with all age groups of folks in Newton. I work with our partners at the Jasper County Attorney's Office in prosecuting crimes.
Jeff and I will share this one, and then you guys can share that one. One thing I did forget to mention is we will, if you have any questions that pop up in your head, feel free to write those down. And then if we have time afterwards, we'll open it up to do a Q&A session. If there's not time, they'll be hanging out afterwards for a little bit, and then we can ask them questions afterwards. So with that, we'll dig into just the questions here. So we'll have Jessica start out here. So just from your work investigating financial exploitation cases across Iowa, what makes seniors particularly attractive for scams?
Yeah, so we do Stop the Scammer tours. I don't know if any of you have ever attended one of those. And it's a question that comes up a lot. People always ask, why us? And I can tell you the scammers are smart. They know where the money is, right? So they know that older individuals usually have accumulated wealth. They have retirement savings, they have annuities, they have life insurance policies. The scammers that are active today are after all assets. They're not after a couple of gift cards. They want those large amounts of money. So a large amount of the cases that I get are where older Iowans are trying to liquidate a retirement account or a life insurance policy or annuity because they are in the middle of a scam. So that is one reason, is because you have access to those retirement accounts in an older age that say, I don't have access to that yet. We are, especially in Iowa, very trusting and Iowa nice, and they take advantage of those good qualities and try to get people through those emotional ties of either being trusting because you're trusting somebody who's impersonating a government official, a law enforcement official, or you're wanting to be friendly or in a relationship with somebody. Also, I think the changes in technology are happening so quickly. And they are really good at being able to deceive people through using different types of AI. People who didn't necessarily grow up with the level of technology that is available today, they're able to manipulate that and target older individuals.
Jeff, just with your work on the front lines at Advantage Credit Union, what currently, like right now, what are you seeing as the most common scams targeting older adults in whether it's Newton, Jasper County, or just Iowa in general?
Yeah, it kind of comes in waves. We still deal a lot with romance scams is still a big one. Unfortunately, you wouldn't think that a lot of older people get in romance scams, but they do through a variety of different things. A lot of people have lost husbands and wives, and so they end up getting a text message or something along that nature that's you want to get together for coffee, or I'm supposed to meet you somewhere or whatever. And so that kind of happens. And then lottery scams is one that really, we don't get a ton of those, but when we do, that's kind of like what Jessica said, with their high dollar, and they are ones that leech on for a long time, where they're really trying to get that relationship and trying to get kind of the long haul of as much money as they could possibly get. Gift cards is something that happens We just see that occasionally. It's just a matter of trying to keep our people aware of how those work, and then just staying vigilant on that. So,
so yeah, kind of those are the scams kind of happening today, obviously. So it's like, how can we, like, what would be the red flags / warning signs for scams that are happening? So, Andrew, I would say, what would you say, like, what would be the warning signs that a phone call or a text message, email, or social media, something like that, may be part of an actual scam?
Right. The biggest thing I want to point out is usually it starts with some claim that is too good to be true, whether that's you won the lottery or you've won something from Publishing Clearinghouse. We also see lots of other strange demands for money. We see victims that are contacted by law enforcement or someone posing as law enforcement and saying, well, you have an arrest warrant and you got to pay your bond online now. Or other people will call and say, oh, well, I'm your grandson or granddaughter and I'm in Mexico and I need bond money because I got arrested down in Mexico. We even see more recently, we've been seeing a lot of traffic fines. People will receive text messages saying, well, you forgot to pay a toll road fee, or you're behind on a parking ticket or other speeding fine. And scammers will try and collect money that way. To be perfectly clear, the government, law enforcement, does not collect money through text message, email, social media, anything like that. We're also seeing, kind of like Jeff mentioned, other red flags might be paying for a fine in a gift card, or paying by Bitcoin. You might find scammers that are overly pushy and aggressive, trying to fast talk your way through the scam. We see scammers post as law enforcement, judges, other government officials. So those are all red flags you should look out for. And what I tell everyone is, if you think you're being scammed or you think the police are contacting you illegitimately, you can always report to your local law enforcement in person, and we can absolutely clear that up for you. Again, we do not operate by text message, email, or social media.
Perfect. Two personal examples real quick. I had, it was probably 3 or 4 months ago, had someone call me. It was a scammer, but I didn't know it at the time. And they wanted to make it feel urgent, like you have to do this right now. So he called me. Everything sounded legit. He's like, hey, you missed jury duty. That's what he told me. I was like, he's like, oh, you didn't get anything in the mail. XYZ was giving me these things, and then he was like, okay, write down the case number or something. So I did. Like, it was a normal day. I was at work. It was like nothing was out of the ordinary. So I was kind of just going through the motions, if that makes sense. So I was doing what he asked. He said he was with, well, it started adding up. He said he was with Polk County, but I lived in Jasper County. So then that was my first red flag in my head, but I kept doing it. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then he's like, okay, well, now you need to go do you have like a passport on you or something? And he's like, it's like, no, I don't have my passport on me. I don't know, he just kept going down these rabbit holes, and eventually I was like, I'll just call the sheriff, and then we can kind of clear things up. So then it was like, right when I said that, he was like, hung up, just immediately hung up. Knowing that, I kind of wish I would have played along to see if someone would have met me somewhere, I don't know, if you could catch them. I don't know. I was thinking about that later. Second example, sorry to call out my mom, but I'm going to here. She's not here, so. She was targeted on social media via Facebook Marketplace. So if you're ever buying anything on Facebook Marketplace, just be hesitant or cognizant. If you need help, ask, like you can ask me or ask your friends or like your kids, if you have kids, or just someone that you trust, if what the other person on the other line is saying. Anyway, she kind of got targeted that way. So two personal examples that actually happened within the past 4 months. So just kind of interesting timing on that. But anyways, to kind of go back to just recognizing red flags and things like that, Jessica, for the financial exploitation, kind of see it kind of develops gradually. So they might kind of start out asking for little amounts at a time, and then it kind of increases like that. For thinking about it for like family members or trusted advisors, what would you say to those people to help them know what to kind of watch for?
Yeah, so I would say there's a lot of things that you can watch for if it's maybe a friend or a family member. We often say, especially if maybe they're being exploited by somebody that they know and trust, changes in appearance. You may see that it appears that they might not be taking care of themselves as well as they were before. If you see maybe they've had a sudden change in beneficiaries or power of attorney, maybe they have a new person in their life that's accompanying them to their financial institutions or is on the phone while they're doing financial transactions. Signs that they may be potentially in a scam would be maybe property is being sold kind of out of nowhere. They may be liquidating, like I said, some of those savings accounts, retirement accounts, those sorts of things. They may be behind on paying bills. Those sorts of things would be the things that you would want to look out for.
Perfect. So we kind of talked about today's scams, red flags, what to look for. So next would be kind of just talking about how to actually protect yourself. So Jeff, what would you say are the different like security tools that you could use online, or just different habits that you would recommend to people when managing their money and sending it out, I guess?
Sure. The biggest thing that I can advocate for, and I know it sounds kind of counterproductive, but online banking through your financial institution is something you should really take a look at. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times without that, say you got scammed on the 3rd of the month, and now a month has gone by, and all this money has left your account and you had no idea, right? So you're already behind the 8 ball on tracking that information down. So, banking has pretty darn good stuff as far as technology goes and whatnot. Just making sure that you're not sharing any of that information. A lot of financial institutions also will have multi-factor authentication on them as well. So it'll like send you a code and all this kind of stuff. It's very important that if it does send you a code, those codes are never shared with anybody else, and that your passwords aren't, just the same thing for everything. But that would be just from a financial institution perspective. The biggest thing, the other thing is you can also, many financial institutions also offer transaction alerts on your account. So if you don't want to be tech savvy in terms of seeing, going to find it, it can send you an alert if your debit card is ever used for e-commerce, or if your debit card is ever used for an international transaction. Like those kinds of things will trigger a notice to you to act. So,
Can I add something on that?
Definitely.
If you do ever get an alert, whether you set it up or not through your bank, that you have a transaction on your account that you don't recognize, do not call the number that is in that text message or that email. That is a very common tactic of scammers, where they will tell you that you have a fraudulent charge and you need to call the number, and that's how they will get you in. They'll tell you all your accounts are compromised, you need to move your money to the Federal Reserve, and they will try to get you to start liquidating your life savings. So always either call the number that's on the back of your card or on your statement, or physically go into your bank. Don't ever call the number that's on there.
That's good. Right. Another habit, I think Deb Hench in the back there maybe mentioned it, but if as far as like organizing mail, not online stuff, but if you have a piece of mail that comes in and you don't know what it is, set it aside, and then just have someone like, if you have someone that you trust, have them come over and say, hey, do you know what this is? Is it like factual? Do things check out? So that was another thing that kind of just popped into my head that could be a habit that you could do. Andrew, so obviously we kind of mentioned this earlier a little bit, but many scams typically start out with a sense of urgency or fear, and they kind of want to push you. One, why would you say that tactic is just effective? And then two, how do you kind of train people or just ourselves to kind of slow down and actually take a breath and evaluate the situation?
Scammers usually are pushy and aggressive because it preys on your emotions, whether that's, hey, you've won the lottery and you're excited and you want to get your money right away, or if it's a loved one's in trouble and they need out of jail, or they'll sometimes say, if you don't pay this fine now, it's going to double later. So there's that sense of urgency because that gets them their money faster, and it messes up the way you think. In the simplest way to the stop and think is to slow down, stop and think, like, is this really my grandson, or did I really have that traffic fine, or did I, do I have an arrest warrant? Of course not. What I would encourage you to do is stop and think and slow down, talk to that loved one in your family that you can trust, or even come to the police department. I would come down to the police department in person. You can show us the message you've been receiving. We can walk you through it. And 9 times out of 10, it is a scam, and we can identify that pretty quickly. Our officers are very familiar with the different types of scams and can spot them very easily. So, again, to slow down, stop and think, get in contact with a loved one or your local law enforcement.
I would say too, like from my example, I was like, follow your intuition. So it's like right when I got the call, I was like, this kind of feels weird, but I kind of kept going along with it. So then it's like, if it feels weird to start, it probably is weird. So
trust your gut. If it feels wrong, it probably is.
Yes, trust your gut for sure. So I guess to continue again here, another question for Andrew. So like so this is from the perspective of, okay, the fraud has actually occurred. What next? So like when should someone contact law enforcement, and then like what information would you guys need that would be helpful to you to help kind of solve a case?
Whether you're a true victim, whether you lost money, or if you caught it and knew it was a scam, you should always report to us immediately, whether they got money or not. Especially if you are out money, you should absolutely report it to us right away. Typically, if you report it right away, we can work with your financial institution or bank, and sometimes we can get your money back. And that's what's most important to you guys, is you guys want your money back. So don't wait till the next day. We're 24/7, work on the weekends, report it right away. If you are out money or have lost money, we might need something like your state ID, whether that's driver's license or other state ID, just so we have your information for a report. If you are out money, we might ask for some banking statements or other banking documents, just document what was lost and where it went. If you bank here locally, we have a lot of luck with working with our local banks to get information and documents we need, but sometimes for security reasons, banks are a little pickier, so we might need your help in getting statements and other banking documents. Also save if this scam came in through a text message or social media or email, save those messages. There's important information online that we can use to identify where your money went or who the identity of the suspect is. So we might be asking for some of that. So, bring your cell phone in, and we might take a look at your cell phone to gather information from that email or text message.
I guess another follow-up question. So when someone contacts law enforcement, is it like 911 or is there a different number?
Preferably, it is the non-emergency number. If you're in Jasper County, you can contact the sheriff's office, whether you need Newton Police or the sheriff's office. They'll direct you either way. Otherwise, contact your local non-emergency, whether that's Monroe PD, Colfax, Prairie City, what have you.
And then Jessica, so like after a fraud incident actually occurs, from like your perspective and guidance, what resources or other agencies are available to help victims recover and or just protect themselves going forward from there?
Yeah, so at the Iowa Insurance Division, like I said, we work specifically with older Iowans who have been the victim of financial exploitation. I have a post-scam checklist that I go through with people who have been the victim of some type of fraud or financial exploitation. Through that, we talk through securing your financial accounts. Freezing your credit is something that we suggest everybody do now, before you're a victim of fraud. We suggest your kids do it, your grandkids do it. It's just a really good protection that you can have. The Attorney General's office offers some victim resources, especially for like consumer scams. And then your local area agency on aging, we work with them a lot. They have a lot of local community resources that they can do as well. I think one of the biggest things that I would do now is put a trusted contact onto your financial accounts if you don't already have one, especially any retirement accounts or annuity accounts. Most banks offer it also. What that is somebody that you know and you trust to let your advisor or your banker contact if they have concerns that something may be occurring. They cannot see your account. They cannot make transactions on your account. They cannot stop transactions from occurring. It's just a name and a phone number that allows that person to reach out and make contact with them to maybe help see what's going on. Because sometimes when you're in the middle of a scam, it doesn't feel like a scam to you. It feels like you're taking care of a problem, or you're working on getting your lottery earnings, or you're helping somebody in need. So being able to have somebody that you can actually trust and can help walk you through it, I think, is one of the biggest proactive things that you can do.
Yep. Another follow-up question. How does one actually go about freezing their credit?
Yeah, so, and I brought booklets. Please make sure you grab 1 or 2 or 5 and give them to all your friends. There is information in there, I think it's on page 10, about how to freeze your credit. So you would call all 3 credit bureaus, and they are going to ask for some information. Please use the phone numbers that are in the book. Don't Google it, because I don't trust what you might find on Google. And they're going to give you a PIN number, and you want to keep that PIN somewhere safe. If down the road you're going to buy a car and you're going to apply for a loan, or you're going to get a credit card, all you have to do is call them, give them the PIN number. They will thaw your credit for 3 business days. You can refreeze it sooner than the 3 business days if you want, but it will automatically refreeze after those 3 business days. So it's a little bit of a process to call all 3 credit bureaus, but once it's done, nobody can do anything with your credit. Nobody can apply for any accounts using your information. And I know I'm not using my credit every day. I don't really need my credit to be open, to be able to be run. And it doesn't affect any current loans, any current mortgages, anything like that. All it does is make sure no one can open anything new in your using your Social Security number.
Perfect. We'll go to Jeff here next. How does Advantage Credit Union come into the picture once fraud is reported, and how does that process kind of work, and or how fast do people need to act?
As soon as you see some weird activity, you should be giving us a call. And what we can do is we can help go through that process, and we can see, all right, what happened? Did this person get access to your device? Did this person get access to your online banking? Was your account number exposed, or was it just debit card transactions? And from that kind of avenue, then we can see how far down we have to go. The nice part about if it was just a debit card related transaction, you close the card and you get a new one. But if they actually get into your online banking, now you're resetting passwords and doing all that kind of stuff, or we're just disabling online banking on the whole. If it gets into wiring instructions and things like that, saying that they were going to wire you money, that is the exposure of routing number and account numbers, and that is a complete and total shutdown. And anything that is associated with that account, including checks, anything you have, all gone. So we have to start and we have to rebuild an entirely new account. So It really just does kind of depend on how bad it got.
I know in that video that we watched, they said a lot of people don't recover the money. From your experience, just with things that you've seen inside Advantage Credit Union, with what you can say or whatever, how often do you see people getting money back versus not? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, a lot of times it's not because there are things a lot, especially with debit cards and things of that nature now. It ultimately does come down to a lot of you gave out that information. You gave them your routing number. You gave them your account number. You gave access. So there are a lot of different rules on debit cards and credit cards as to where the liability kind of lays. We try to be pretty darn reasonable with ours, but it is kind of a case by case basis. If we can stop it, we can get that transaction canceled, then it's good. But ultimately, sometimes they'll go down and they'll say, "Hey, you got an email that said this, or you received a fraud notification," and you said, "Yeah, that was me." Because scammers are also really good at saying, "Hey, well, if you get anything or whatever," sometimes it can be fraud notifications, it can be codes, or it can be anything like that. And they're like, "Well, I'm the one who's trying to help you, so it's fine. Just give me that information." And that's exactly why they say on the codes, "Don't share this with anybody." And so, that's how it goes. We were able to, July 1st of last year was when the Bitcoin ATM law passed the state. And just that same week, I know we had 2 individuals who were victims of the Bitcoin scams, and we were able to help recover. I think one person got $2,000 back, and the other person, I think, got $1,000. And since those laws have actually taken effect, a number of Bitcoin companies with ATMs have actually filed for bankruptcy and are now going out of business because Iowa, and I think maybe it was like 20 other states, or there's a high number of states that enacted some pretty tough laws on Bitcoin ATMs and kind of put those guys out of business.
Can you explain what they are? What Bitcoin is?
Bitcoin ATM is, you see them at, I think, in town, I think it's maybe still at Fairway. I think there was one at Newton 66. There was one at BB by the interstate. There used to be one at Ace Hardware, Farber, but I don't know if it's still there. There's a lot of them, and it's Bitcoin is an investment, and so what they try to do is they could say, "Hey, I've got this investment opportunity where you can deposit into this wallet or this code, and they're holding the money for you," is one scenario, and they're not holding anything; they're stealing it from you. And it's all very crypto, right? So it's supposedly untraceable or highly difficult to track, and these 2 know more about it than I do, but I mean, there's multiple scenarios where you can, find stories. I think there was one, I don't think this was in Iowa, but where a police officer had walked into a convenience store, and there was an elderly person there who had already put $20,000 cash and just kept feeding the machine. And I think that employee at the gas station was like, "Something ain't right." Thank goodness for that person. And I think the person was on the phone believing that they were talking to law enforcement. And, but so what that law did was that law limited the amount of money that you can put into a Bitcoin ATM per day, per month, and then also made it to where there was like almost kind of a grace period to where if that transaction was fraudulent, you had a certain amount of time to react to that to help you recoup those funds. Did I get most of that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll kind of end with Jessica here. So just kind of the rule of thumb, something to remember. it's kind of what we were thinking through. So like if you could teach just every person in this room one simple rule to follow before sending money or sharing any valuable information, responding to any requests, what would that advice or 2 cents be?
Yeah, I'm going to give a little bit more than 2 cents. But so, Jeff talked about the romance scams, the lottery scams. The lottery scam is making a huge comeback. It's a scam we used to see, and now it is almost every other call that I go out on is a lottery scam. So we see a lot of the Publishers Clearinghouse. We see a lot of, I got contacted by Caitlin Clark on Facebook, and I'm getting, $55 million and a Mercedes-Benz, and I just have to pay shipping costs, or I have to pay the taxes. That's a really big one right now. The romance scams are always a huge one. I see a lot of celebrity romance scams. And when I tell you, they say romance, I call it more relationship, because I'm seeing people in relationships with people for 4, 5, 6 years. And losing their entire life savings. And then also we have another, probably the other biggest one that we see are the tech support scams, where you get that pop-up on your computer that says you have a virus, you need to call Microsoft, or you get the notification that you have a fraudulent transaction on your Apple account, and you call the number and they say, we're going to get into your computer, we're going to take a look. It looks like all your accounts are tied to criminal activity. I need to transfer you to a federal agent. And that federal agent will say, you're now under investigation, all your accounts are compromised, we need to move all of your money to the Federal Reserve. And they will have you start liquidating everything and purchasing gold, or getting cash and meeting up with someone, or putting it into one of the Bitcoin ATMs. And then the other one is it's called pig butchering, and it's basically where someone tells you they have a really good investment opportunity, usually gold or cryptocurrency, and it's all fraudulent. So I say all that to say those are the 4 biggest ones. I can say I investigated about $20 million in loss to older islands last year. That's just me. That's not counting your local law enforcement, the AG's office, unreported. So it's a massive, massive problem. So one is, like what Andrew said, double check, double check, double check. If someone is telling you that you need to make any type of decision, financial decision, personal information decision, quickly stop, take down their information, and either call someone that you trust or call your local law enforcement, call me, and we can talk it through. The other thing would be to put the trusted contact onto your account and know if anyone is asking you to pay for anything in gift cards, in cryptocurrency, they're asking you to mail cash or purchase gold, that is like run the other direction. Those are huge, huge red flags. If they're asking you to download encrypted messaging apps like WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, huge red flag, that is a scam, okay? If you ever have any questions, like I said, reach out to somebody that you trust. And then also, if you do find yourself in a situation where you have been a victim, please understand that you are a victim. I do not ever use the term fell for a scam, because to me that's putting the blame on you as a victim. If you have been in this situation, these people are professional criminals, okay? This is what they do, and you're a victim of a crime just like any other type of crime. So please do not be ashamed, do not be embarrassed. We want you to report it. We want you to report it to either your local law enforcement, to our office, and we want to be able to help you, and we want you to understand that you are a victim. You're not alone. These are massive criminal organizations, and this is what they do for a living, and they're very, very, very good at it. So please report it. We want to help you. We want to see what we can do to either try to recover any funds or make sure that you're protected going forward. Sorry, that was a lot more than 2 cents.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah, definitely. That was great. Andrew, do you have any just final thoughts, insights, pieces of advice or anything else that we just haven't touched on or anything like that?
I just wanted to echo kind of what Jessica said. If you are a victim, don't wait to report. You're not the only one out there. It happens to people every day, but we can only help you if you tell us. So call us immediately if you think you're a victim of fraud.
Jeff, same question.
Yeah, I have a couple things. From a financial institution perspective, I just want to make sure that I get this out there that we don't hang out and watch your accounts. Okay, I know at the credit union just alone we've got 7,000 members. But if there's something that trips our radar or something, let's say, that's weird, or that person normally doesn't come in 3 times a week. They're doing a lot of cash transactions. They never do that. If we reach out to you, really listen to us, because we're seeing this stuff on the back end all the time. And, we're trying to tell you that if it's a scam, you're probably being scammed. So it's really important that you go back to your financial institution and in person, or call the number directly again, coming in that direction. But yeah, I know specifically at the credit union being like owned by the members, right? Like, you guys own the place. So we have to make sure that we're protecting you as best we can. And ultimately, sometimes decisions get made and members and consumers say, well, it's my money and I'll do what I want. And we can try to help that to some degree, but, we do the best we can. So.
And I will say, I think for every person that says to me, it's my money, I can do what I want, I probably have 10 to 20 people that would say, I wish I would have talked to you a couple months ago. So, your credit unions, your banks, your financial advisors, they go through a ton of training. So if they're telling you that something feels off, please heed that advice.
Perfect. That's all the questions that we kind of had prepared. Does anyone we can open it up to Q&A here for 10 minutes or so if anyone has questions. We'll start with Jim and then we'll go to Caritha.
This is for Jessica. At what point do you get involved in this fraud situation? Is it after the people have gone to local law enforcement, or can they independently go to you, or how does that all tie together?
Yeah, people can independently report to our office. So a lot of our reports actually are derived from like financial advisors or insurance companies where someone is requesting to liquidate a large portion of their accounts. Then they delay that disbursement and they report it to our office, and then we reach out to that consumer. I actually go out and meet with every single person that we get a report on and meet with them, try to figure out what's going on, see if we can hopefully protect our assets before it's gone. But sometimes we also get reports after the fraud has occurred. So I would say if you report it to your local law enforcement, that is sufficient. We can always help you with resources, but you wouldn't have to report to both. We actually have a law enforcement agency within our office as well. So it really is just dependent on the situation.
Caritha, I saw your hand go up after Jim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's just ironic. Last night I got a phone call from Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was a local number, it's a little dining line, so I recognized it as a 641-259 number. And I answered it, and then they said hello. They said hello back. And then there was a pause until somebody came on and said, you're now on the federal list or whatever. So I immediately just hung up. I didn't want to talk to them. But anyway, is there anybody who could report those numbers to? I wrote those numbers down. I got another one this morning. Where is they?
Yeah, so Medicare will never call you. Medicare is never going to call you and ask you for your Medicare number. There is a significant amount of also Medicare fraud that occurs. As far as the phone numbers, you can report them, but they use programs where they're just generating fraudulent numbers. So it's very hard for us. I don't know if you have another thought. It's very hard for us to actually do anything about those. Unfortunately, they're just generating those fake numbers and they're trying to make them look local, so you do answer them. Another thing that I would suggest, and I can send anyone a guide who's interested in it, but especially if you have an iPhone has a new feature on it where you can set it up for any number that is not saved in your phone to automatically go to voicemail. It's something that I highly suggest if it is somebody who legitimately needs to get a hold of you, like a doctor's office or something like that. They can leave you a voicemail and you can decide who you want to call back, but it is going to filter out a ton of those scam calls. Most scammers don't leave voicemails. Some do, but most don't. But you can listen to that voicemail and then make a decision of who you want to talk to. And it also is just a huge peace of mind of not having to deal with your phone ringing all the time.
Good question. I saw that one go up there first. Yep.
So on a daily basis, there are bombarded with security apps.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any apps that I would suggest. I think the best feature is that, what I said, that new feature. And I know Android has kind of a version of it. Are you talking about for like on calls that you don't want to get? Yeah, I wouldn't download any of that. And I don't think you need to. I think if you are filtering out and not, opening links and emails from places that you don't recognize, not answering calls from people that you don't know. I don't have any apps that I would say. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I think the thing that is the most surprising to me when I go out to meet with people in their homes is how much their phone rings. It's insane. Yeah. I would put on some call filtering on your phone.
I'll go right there and then right here next. And then we'll go next.
Okay. This is straight from experience. As Jeff knows. How do I trust numbers on people?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
So I would say, like,
never thought.
yeah.
I was calling eBay. I looked at eBay up on Google.
Yep. I would go to eBay's website and make sure that it's eBay's website, and I would scroll down to the bottom and they should have a phone number at the bottom. I would not take the number that's on Google.
That says customer service.
I would go to their website and look for the number that's on their website.
$600.
I would say be Iowa nice, but New York cynical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I would say.
I called back and talked to somebody else, and they said, "Oh, the money will be back in your account by tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
Then I tried calling again; it went straight to voicemail every time.
I'm very sorry that happened to you.
My sister-in-law got scammed for $80,000. So, I'm not. I'm usually pretty careful, but this one, I was trying to get my money back for my coffee that they never delivered.
Yeah.
And if I can just add on to that, I'm sorry for jumping in.
That's
But
fine.
by experience too, it's so hard because you're embarrassed.
Mhm.
Don't feel for it.
Yeah.
To admit to somebody that I did this.
I'm not
a
embarrassed. I'll tell everybody.
Well, you know what I say to people? I mean, most people know you lock your house at night, right? Most people lock you got to secure your property. If I go home tonight and I forget to lock my house and someone breaks in the night and robs me, are you going to say, well, she should have known better? She should have been paying better attention? Or would you say she's a victim of a crime and it's terrible that happened to her? And sometimes I think we forget that. We feel like we're at fault somehow because, I should have checked. I should have known better. At the end of the day, these people are criminals and they're stealing from you. Just because they're doing it through deception and not force doesn't make it less of a crime, and it doesn't make you less of a victim.
That's perfect. Good way to put it. We'll have John go next. We'll do 2 more questions, one there, and then we'll wrap it up, and then they'll hang out afterwards.
Thank you guys for your suggestions. There's a lot of shrewd marketing rascals out there.
Yeah.
And I think particularly with grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So grandparents beware. They know how to suck you in. I got sucked in a couple of times this past year. And you feel crazy about it.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yep,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead right there.
I'd like to know, do you recommend password protection? I did with the quality computer company now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're recommending at least something like LastPass,
Mm-hmm.
where it puts in a unique password each time you go to a website. Is that advantageous?
Yes, and I would also suggest not saving your passwords in your browsers, even though it makes it so much easier to just log in. I've had several cases where people have clicked on a link or been conned into letting somebody download remote access software into their computer, and then they have access to all of their accounts or anything that they have a password saved in. So anytime that you can do like a password keeper, if it's a legitimate company, 2-factor authentication, that is absolutely your best bet. And like Jeff said, don't share the code on the 2-factor authentication ever.
I know you said on last question.
One more.
That you have to watch if you're used to guy going into Amazon or whatever you want to make sure it pops up. It says HTTPS colon, because if not, you may claim that it won't be the official site.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yep, definitely. We're a small enough group. I like having the conversations, so it's good. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. If you want to give them a round of applause, please. If you found this valuable, if it's your first time here, we do have feedback forms. So we read every single one of those. So we would appreciate it if you filled those out. Let us know how it went. We use, basically, I always say like feedback is fuel. So we figure out how we can take your feedback and make things better. One time we got feedback about how if someone wasn't here, like how do they know what happened the previous month? So we started making note sheets for the previous month. So if you come next month, we'll have just a 1-page note sheet of everything that we talked about summarized on there. So just for your information there. But yeah, these are always the first Thursday of every month. Next month will be in August. I can't think of the date off the top of my head, but August 7th. Thank you. And we'll be discussing aging in place with confidence, what to fix, update, and watch for. So that'll be next month. And have a good 4th of July weekend. Thank you.